Nick, I'm looking at a huge game in West London, Chelsea against Tottenham. This is massive, again, for both teams in their season. Chelsea obviously lost at Manchester City last time out. Seems like their title hopes are totally over. For Tottenham, their top four battle, they're still doing well under Antonio Conte. Unbeaten, obviously, to start his Premier League reign, a long unbeaten run in that situation. What are you looking for in this game, mate? Because if Tottenham go to Chelsea and win, all of a sudden they could drag Chelsea into that battle for a top four spot, right? When all of a sudden we all thought they were going to be in a title battle, but maybe they're going to sink a little bit closer to those teams just below them.
Yeah, I think I'm going to say something a little bit wild, something you guys could be haunting me with for a couple of months. And Andy will. I can't wait. I'm not even looking at the camera. I'm looking at Andy's face for when I say this. Okay. Tottenham's very good. Tottenham is very good under Conte. And the underlying numbers are blowing my mind because it shows how good of a manager he is. They draw Liverpool a couple weeks ago. They deserve to win that game. He went all out. He had 2.8 expected goals in that game. And since then, if you combine the expected goals per game for Palace, Southampton, Watford, it's under 1 total. I mean, they are not giving teams chances. His system is working. And I just think that inevitably maybe he's gone in July when they don't buy the players he wants. But I favor them to finish 4th. I don't think you sleep. You don't have a bad game under him because you're terrified of him. And I think that it's the opposite of West Ham, okay? I look at West Ham, and I do, like you guys, think they're going to get something from Man United this weekend, but I wouldn't bet anything on them finishing in the top 5, maybe even the top 6. Tottenham, I don't know that they win. Chelsea has shown just how much more talent kind of they have right now in cohesion, and they could beat Spurs for the 3rd time in what, 2.5 weeks? So I don't know that Tottenham wins this weekend, but I believe in them. I really believe in them.
And that's very interesting to hear, Nick, because I think they're doing well under Conte, but I didn't really think they were doing that well, as you've just pointed out. But when you think about it, the main thing they need to do is sort out the defense, and Andy's mentioned that time and time again. Defensively, they got better, and with Kane and others, they're capable of nicking games 1-0, 2-0. Andy, on this game, Lukaku, Chelsea's attacking struggles, that kind of plays into Tottenham's hands as well, right, with their improved defensive displays. But what are you concerned or worried about for Spurs? And what do they have to do well to win at Chelsea? And what would be a massive statement win?
Yeah, again, I'm going to go back to the central midfield, and we talked during kind of the transfer segment this week where Spurs need to reinforce. It's also, as Nick pointed out in talking about Chelsea, where they are at one of their best parts of the field, one of their strongest units with the 3 that they've got in there. And so I just kind of look at that matchup and the way that Chelsea, especially in those 2 League Cup semifinal games, were able to control the game. They didn't completely dominate by creating 30 scoring chances in the game, but they were never ever in danger. The result was never really in doubt because the way they were able to control the game through possession and breaking up everything from Spurs, because Spurs just have no creativity, no fresh ideas there in the center of midfield. And so as soon as they win the ball back, it's a bunch of square sideways passers who are looking to pass the ball square and sideways to one another and not get it further up the field. And Chelsea, under Thomas Tuchel, will obviously have seen that in those couple of games, and they've taken advantage of that already. They'll look to do the same thing again. And so I don't like this matchup for Spurs this weekend, but I agree with a lot of what Nick said there in terms of, again, to go back to kind of something that I always mention with clubs that are struggling or looking longer term. There's a foundation that is now in place for Spurs under Conte. And if as long as he stays there as manager, I hadn't really considered that maybe he's just gone in the summer, but it's, given the way that he has moved around in recent years, given the volatility of Daniel Levy with previous managers, it's certainly in play. But if they can keep him in that job, and they can keep him happy, and they can keep him fully engaged with the recruitment staff above him and the players below him, then they're set up for long-term success. They really are. They have a long-term manager, I think, who will build something special this weekend, unless they're able to bring in a couple central midfielders in the next couple of days. I don't think is going to be their time to shine.
Chelsea versus Tottenham, a huge London derby, always is between these two teams, and feels huge in the direction of the second half of the season for both of these teams, right? If Tottenham win, totally gain belief that they can finish in the top 4. And if Chelsea lose and all of a sudden on a bit of a slump, there's some issues attacking wise, Lukaku and Thomas Tuchel seem to be going at it a little bit too often on the pitch and obviously in the media sections as well. So let's wait and see how this plays out. Feels like a massive, massive game for both Chelsea and Spurs, as they always are. And I'll be at Stamford Bridge, so I'm really looking forward to being there and sampling the atmosphere there in West London. It gets a bit feisty. I remember the Battle of the Bridge a few years ago being about 10 yards away from that absolute chaos that broke out. And it was some incredible scenes when these two teams meet. And I feel like their positions in the table just adds a little bit of extra spice if it needed anything to the game this weekend.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch highlights all season long and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend at 7 a.m. Eastern. And for even more content, head over to Peacock, where we've got live games, original series and a dedicated round-the-clock Premier League channel featuring studio shows, classic matches and much more.